yes. Oh, yes. Okay, okay. I'd take a drink of water right now if I had some. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another replay analysis brought to you by me, ViBE. Today we're going over another one of Plasmid's games. It is a, I think if I remember correctly, it was either a Masters or maybe a Diamond Terran opponent. I think Plasmid's Masters. I can't remember. I don't know. It's either High Diamond, Low Master. It's around there. But yeah, we are going to watch Plasmid. Basically, what I always do in these is I'm going to give advice to Plasmid and anyone else watching as to what I think he could do better and things I think he should be focusing on at all times with his build and little, things here and there that I like about what he does. And we'll see how it goes. So we got a 17 hatch coming out. This is more of a standard opener. We'll have to, see what comes behind it. Looks like it's going to be a 18 gas, 17 pool. I like it. It's good. It's very standard. It's keeps you safe from random crap that can happen. But so far, good. I also really like that he's keeping the mineral line saturated with 16. If I had to nitpick anything right now, okay, I'll be nitpicky here because obviously everyone wants to learn as much as they can. But so far, the build is good. The only thing I would nitpick on is when you're in the start of the game like this and not much is going on and you're kind of just waiting for things to happen, try your best to properly saturate 2 per mineral line here, or two drones per patch is what I meant to say. So you're not having inefficient mining on one and inefficient mining on the other. Because if you have 3 on a patch and only 1 on a patch, you're actually missing out on one drone's full mining potential on one patch, and a drone is only mining about half its potential when it's on 3 on another patch, or like 2/3 of its potential. So it's not fully mining and fully giving you the right amount of money that you should be getting. Right now there are 3 drones on both of these middle patches, here on the side right here, and there's only 1 on each of these. So that's like a small, it will add up over time. It'll be like you'll probably be missing out on like 30 minerals a minute because of that. Something around there. It's not going to be fully missing it out because you're still mining a little bit of a different patch, but it'll probably be like 25 to 30 minerals a minute. Alright, now to back it up really fast. As soon as if you actually spot and scout this right here, the second you see this, what I would love to happen would be you should send the Overlord further into it, because you got really lucky by scouting this. The fact that you see it is great. But now that you do see it, you should totally if this ever happens, you should send the Overlord further into whatever's happening, because you could tell a lot about what's going to happen. There's a potential proxy 1 or 2 racks, okay? Proxy 1 racks is almost always going to be a Reaper. The guy just wants the Reaper harass you really, really fast and scout your base really fast. Like, he's going to scout you no matter what, but it's most likely going to be for a Reaper. If it's a proxy 2 racks, it could be Reaper again, possibly, but mostly what's going to be then is there will be SCVs going up and building bunkers in front of your base, and he's going to do a proxy 2 racks with bunkers and try to like contain you off of that. If it's a 3 racks, probably going to be bunkers again, like with maybe like a little bit of an SCV pull to harass you with just, bunkers and marines. And if it's a 4 racks, it's going to just be literally an all-in with, once again, bunkers. But there's very little follow-up to a proxy 4 racks. Proxy 4 racks is like, if the guy does not kill you with his pressure, he's probably just going to lose the game. Because it's very, very, very committed to an all-in. So it tells you a lot about as to what kind of a pressure you should expect. You can react to most of them the same. The best thing you can do for yourself, though, is not let bunkers go down. And there are already bunkers being built, which is also why I do, like, you got lucky scouting this at first, but I have said before, I really do like leaving my Overlord in front of my natural against Terran and Protoss, because it tells you if they're going to build bunkers or if they're going to cannon rush you before those buildings are done, and you can see you're getting bunkered right now. And the way this is being set up is if you had an Overlord here right now, and you pulled drones, as soon as this bunker went down, okay, like let's say 2 seconds into the bunker going down, you're like, oh, look at 2 SCVs running in my natural, and he's bunkering me. You could have pulled, like, let's say 10 drones, and you could have got a surround on both sides Or you could have just started attacking the bunkers themselves and denied them before they went up. But the problem that's going to happen for you is if this guy is allowed to put a third bunker right here, what happens is it makes a complete wall to where you can only engage from one side. So the SCVs can never be killed while they're repairing unless a queen is attacking. But if by the time your queens come out, he'll already have like 6 Marines inside the bunkers. So your queens are going to die pretty fast. So all he has to do is run the SCVs away for a second and then come right back and repair the bunkers while your queen dies. So this is really bad that you don't see this right now, and it's going to make the whole game really hard for you. My advice is, instead of having the Overlord Scout here, because it's totally random if you do see it, but instead of having the Overlord Scout randomly around the map, just wait at your natural until your natural is like basically done, and then send the Overlord somewhere else afterwards. So you're not surprised by crap like this. Because you're, let's see how you build here. You're building 2 spines. Okay, you know what's happening. This, I guess, is a good response to the fact that now his bunkers are done, but you could have actually denied the bunkers in the first place. And you could actually have the Terran running away from you right now from your drones with his SCVs. Or the SCVs die while they're trying to build the bunkers, and you deny the bunkers. But you could have control of your natural ramp right now if you did it the other way that we were just talking about. But now the best thing you can do would be make lings and have your lings stockpile up like you're doing, and then as soon as the 2 queens spawn and your 2 spines are done, you literally have to just shove your spines like here and here. 2 queens go forward, and your whatever amount of lings you have, try to just get on the bunkers as well. And it's kind of just like you hope for the best. If this guy built a 3rd bunker here, it would not work. I'm telling you right now. But luckily for you, he didn't build a 3rd bunker here for whatever reason. But look how fast your queens die. Like your queen just spawned and it's already dead because you didn't move it for the first like 3 seconds it was alive, and all it took was seriously like 3 seconds and it's dead now. It's gonna die. This is the DPS of like 6 Marines, and this is why it's scary if you let the Marines get into bunkers like this. Because now that you've let 6 Marines get inside, it can kill your queens, and if you let him wall off like this, your queens are, like I said before, the queens are really the only thing that can stop these SCVs from repairing in the back. So it's just horrible. It's a horrible setup to let him do this. The best way to defend this 100% is preventative measures. Don't let him do it. And you have an Overlord there to help you figure that out. Because what's going to happen right now, I'm guaranteeing this is what's going to happen. Your queen's going to die. You're going to try and engage these bunkers with your Zerglings, and all of your Zerglings are going to die. And your spines will probably start poking the bunker on the outside. I think both your spines can poke one bunker each, barely. But he can repair the bunkers with SCVs during all of this damage, and all of your shit's going to die, and then your hatchery's going to die. And then the spines ultimately are going to have to uproot and go back to the main. That's what I see happening. The amount of damage that lings do to a bunker is not that much. What I meant to say was the amount of damage Marines can do to lings in a bunker is a shitload, which makes lings in general. Every ling that dies is one less ling you're having DPSing down the bunker. So this position now that you're in is really hard for you because you've just made a bunch of spines that are now going to just be base defense, and your natural is completely dead. Like, you have to start over, basically, and the Terran, you can see it even. The Terran has a natural that's almost done now. So, I feel like you defended it as well as you could, or, somewhat as well as you could have. I actually think this is something that I can tell you really quickly. This guy made a mistake, and you probably could have saved your hatchery. Maybe. Or at the very least, you could have kept all your lings alive. It was. I just skipped it again. It's right here.
A new queen has emerged.
Right now, I think is a scary time for you to engage with your lings. But if you would have noticed something, you notice that he's not actually killing your lings. He's killing the hatchery. Look at your lings. He's killing the hatchery right now. If you had 2 lings go in the back and focus fire down these SCVs, like one by one, like maybe 3 lings or something, just green box it and grab whatever, like a few lings, and had them attack the SCVs, and the other lings attack the bunkers, you could have actually killed these bunkers without even having to move these spines. And then you could have retaken control of your ramp. And you could have immediately retaken... The hatchery would still die, though. But you could have retaken your hatchery immediately after. And if you would have done it like that, you would have been retaking your natural before he starts his natural. Because these lings could have totally killed these bunkers while he spends time killing 300 health on a hatchery. Because the hatchery not only has 1 armor, so Marines are going to be doing less damage, but 300 health is a shitload. It's the same as a spine crawler, basically. And it's time that it would buy your lings to just smack the bunkers the whole time. And very likely kill the bunkers entirely. But you ran away. So, again, just to clarify, I think it was a mistake for you to engage with your lings like that a little bit, because you didn't... The way you should have done it is you should have shoved your spines forward first, and then your queens go with the spines second, like just behind the spines, which means your queens will then start taking the damage first, and your lings follow the queens in right away, right after. And what this does is it allows your lings to actually engage the bunkers without just getting picked apart as they're trying to engage. The only way the Terran can counter that is if they counter micro and literally focus fire your lings with like A click, A click, A click, A click. Because the AI of the bunkers will attack the nearest hostile target every single time. And a spine crawler is not hostile until it's actually rooted. But if the spine crawlers take the first couple hits while the queens are walking forward, and then the Marines start shooting the queens, it allows your spines to get in position faster without having to walk behind the queens and get all fucking blocked and shit. It would just be better if you did it like that. Ideally, if the bunkers are already done, but you didn't really do it that way because the queen died and then the lings, went back and forth. But that's what I just said a second ago is how you should deal with it if the bunkers are done. But just remember, this is the biggest part about all of this. This whole situation could have been avoided if there was just an overlord in front of your natural, like right here where the green box is, and you could have seen, oh look, 2 SCVs are walking into my natural really early, and he's starting bunkers. Let's pull my drones and deny it entirely. And then you'll buy yourself enough time to where he won't actually be able to get a bunker done, and by the time his Marines start walking into your base, you'll have lings being built. And you might have to fight the Marines, like 2 Marines, one time with like 10 drones. And if you micro a little bit, and you just like move towards the Marines, and you just pull back a drone that's getting attacked, it'll have to do like maybe 2 drones when you do this. And then as soon as you get down to like right here, even if you haven't killed the Marines, if you just push them away a little bit, you just go back to your base. Because guess what? By the time he then comes to your base once again, now you have Zerglings, and now you have queens. And now you can have 2 queens sitting on top of the ramp every time he tries to come up the ramp. And you can keep making lings and get speed eventually. And happy day for Zerg. And while you're then, all your drones keep mining your natural. And you have like a good 20 drones on minerals at that point versus a guy who's put himself into kind of a one base all-in situation and now has to take a really late natural. If it worked like that, if you would have saw it, that's kind of how it would go. If you, that's ideally what you want to happen. And I think that was another opportunity there as well to attack the bunkers with the broodlings. You could have overpowered the bunker for sure if you would have fought with the broodling, because there's 8 broodlings attacking the bunker, which also add extra meat shields to you, because a broodling has only 5 hit points less than a zergling. So it's like you just a second ago now, you had about 24 lings theoretically. 8 of them are a little bit worse than zerglings by 1 damage and 5 hit points, but it's close. You could have actually killed the bunkers as well right now with the broodlings being there, and you would have kept quite a few of your lings alive, because as soon as you overpower up one of the bunkers, a lot less DPS becomes a part of this. Like you eliminate a lot of his potential DPS by 50%. But your Ling's engaged so late that now they all die. Anyways, moving on. This whole game now is going to be really weird because you're behind now. What I would recommend you do, if I were you, and in this position, and I saw this guy going for a quick 1-1-1 with a natural behind it, and now he's got 2 Hellions. I would think, in my head, I'd be like, alright, this guy's probably going to make Hellions. And sorry, he's going to make a medevac. I sounded like an idiot right there for a second. He's probably going to make a medevac, and he's probably going to drop me, and or he's going to make a liberator, and he's going to have like Hellions in the front, or he's going to have Hellions with a Hellbats and a medevac in the front of my base. Something like that is going to happen from what we've seen so far. I like that you're still scouting him because he doesn't have a Marine at home to stop it. So I love that you're just chilling here with the Overlord because you really do want to see what's going to happen next. But if I were you and I saw this, I would most likely do build a Roach Warren right now, and I would put one of my spines in my main mineral line and one of my spines in front of my natural. And then I would not go mass roaches. I would make drones during this process, and then I would just make like 5 roaches while going mass drones, and then I would get a layer and go off this like 2-base weird opener, and from there you'll still see what he's doing, but you can gauge what you might transition into after. But so far, that's what I would expect. Seeing right now, there's no tech lab, there's nothing, there's no add-ons yet, so. With what he has so far, and he's already made 2 Hellions out of this as well, this makes me think he's going to do like a Hellion drop on your base.
A new queen has emerged.
Okay, he's now making a tech lab. Now, I would still chill here with... Oh, your Overlord's going to die. So, they're going to die now. But now that your Overlords are being shut out, I would now assume Banshee. So instead of making a... I would still make like a couple roaches. I would probably make like 4 roaches, and I would make spores, 1 per base. And I would probably also put both spines in the front of my base now, like together on the ramp, because you're most likely not going to get dropped anymore.
A creep tumor's under attack.
And that way, whenever he pushes the ramp like that, you have double the DPS rather than having them spread out like this. Because what he can do now is he can engage 1 spine by 1 spine. Yo, thank you for the gifted sub to Angry Testy. Tofu Baguette, thank you. So double spine on the front of the ramp would probably be ideal because he's going to Hellbat break your ramp. So you want as much DPS as possible all at once. And 1 spore per mineral line for sure. Because you don't know if he's going to get cloak or not. You made too many roaches in my opinion. This is too many roaches. You could have made like 5. And 5 with, because you got to think about it like this, okay, dude? He's got productions of 1-1-1. 1 roach can beat 1 Hellion. 1 roach can beat 2 Hellions. 1 roach can pretty much even out against 3 Hellions. So if you make like 4 roaches, 4 roaches can fight 12 Hellions. Legit, like they can. If he has Hellbats as well, Hellbats change it a little bit. I would say 1 roach can fight 2 Hellbats instead of 3. Like it's 1 roach can fight 3 Hellions. Take it off by 1. 1 roach can fight 2 Hellbats. Okay, Hellbats are a little bit more durable than Hellions, and they take longer to kill. So if he walks up with 12 Hellbats coming into your base and you have 4 roaches, you will win that fight still because you can kite. But the thing that would be scary is your natural would be compromised for a while because it would take a while for 4 roaches to kill 12 Hellbats. So your natural might actually die again. So you gotta have more confidence in the roaches. Like, you don't need to make a shitload of roaches in this situation. Plus, the other thing I was gonna say, you have 2 spines. 1 spine crawler can kill like 5 Hellions by itself before it would die. 1 spine can kill like 3 to 4. 4 is pushing it, but 1 spine can guaranteed kill 3 Hellbats before it dies. So these 2 spines alone are worth the weight of like 6 Hellbats, and the 4 roaches are worth the weight of like 8 Hellbats. So with 4 Roaches and 2 Spines together, you're already having like 12 Hellbats worth of DPS in defense here. Does that make sense? And you'd have like 20 Hellions worth of DPS in Roach Spine with just 4 Spines. Or 4 Roaches and 2 Spines. You could kill a lot of Hellions and Hellbats, with basically is what I'm saying, with that little bit of defense. Especially also since you have Transfuse too. You have extra Queens for Transfuse. This is like going really overboard on defense. I like the Queens. Queens are not bad. I would also recommend you keep making Queens like you did, because he also has Banshee. And having a couple of Queens roaming around while you're still injecting other hatcheries with your other Queens, that's nice, because it allows you to roam around and kill Banshees with your Queens, which is fucking great. But right now, what I see is, this is what I see the problem is. If I were you and I was watching you, I would be like, dude, you are killing your own economy so fucking hard right now. Not only did you get shit on by that early pressure, which ruined your own economy in the first place, but now you're doing it even more to yourself because you're making way too many units. And if we look at the economy right now, there you go. He has almost double your fucking economy with orbital commands as well, which means you are so fucked right now. Like, this is terrible. This game has been put in a position where you're basically playing with like a big fucking ball and chain on your foot, trying to like run a race. Like, you've just handicapped yourself so hard in the first 6 minutes of this game by how you've, you know, kind of set the game up for yourself. Which can all be fixed by things we're talking about. So I'm glad you sent me this replay, because this is a lot of problems can be fixed just to help your general game opener. But yeah, if you would have made like 4 Roaches and then saturated 2 Mineral Lines, I guarantee off of 2 Spine and 4 Roach, you have plenty of time to saturate 2 bases and then start making more units, and you would not die. Because you know he took a natural. That's why. If this guy would have been 1 basing you still, I would agree with your Roaches. But he's 2 basing you, so you don't want to... Like, he's already fully saturated on 2 bases by the time you haven't even started making drones yet for your natural. And also, against someone who's most likely going to be pushing the front of your base, like a Terran, you should definitely put your spines together. Alright, so you're going Hydra, Roach Hydra. That's fine. That's questionable, actually. I'll take it back. That's not fine. It's questionable. You're going for a composition that it's like rock fighting rock. You just slam into each other and see what one lasts longer. Well, what's happening right now is he's got a bigger rock than you, because he's got a better economy. So it'd be like 2 guys just grabbing each other by the shirt and punching each other in the face. This is what your build is, basically, because it's not cost efficient. It's just a fucking slam build. Like, it's a build that's a move. It's legit the equivalent of, if you were to fight someone, you grab him by the shirt and he grabs you by the shirt and you just punch him in the face, and whoever gets knocked out first is the loser. But you're like your champion, okay? Your guy that is doing the punching. He's like an 80-pound guy, and you have to punch out a guy who weighs like 100 pounds more than him. Because you're fighting someone who's gonna do something similar to you. He's probably gonna go Marine, Medevac, and maybe some tanks. But what's gonna happen is you're gonna have an army attack him, and your army's just gonna die and disappear, because you don't have enough economy to support it. I would recommend, if I were you, you need to do something cost efficient to come back in a game like this. If you know, you're this far handicapping yourself, and it would be like Infestors, or something that can kill him with losing little or nothing at all. Lurkers would be okay as well. I don't mind that you go Roach Hydra, but you need to definitely fix your economy before you do that.
We're running out of minerals back home. They're attacking your base, you know.
Okay, so he just lost a Banshee. Also, another thing. This is a big tip, okay? This is a big tip. If you fight against a Terran, and they go for bio. Is this? Let's just see. Is this guy going bio really fast? No, he's not. He's going mech. Okay, so here's a tip though, because you don't know what he's doing yet. All you've seen is 111, and I guess you've seen a planetary fortress at the third. That's okay. A planetary at the third. All right. Okay. Come on, P-boy. If you play against bio, I'm telling you right now, if you only get one Evo chamber, I would actually recommend you get Carapace over weapons. But I would ideally you want to get 2 Evo chambers and you want to get both upgrades. But Carapace is way more important if you go Roach Hydra, if you're fighting bio. The speed at which your Roach and Hydra are gonna die is going to be way too fast if you don't get Carapace against bio. But it is mech this game, and against mech, Carapace is worthless. Actually, it's terrible. So I like the fact that you're getting only 1 Evo and a weapon upgrade because he's going mech. I don't know if you actually saw his army at some point during this game. Maybe you did. But just keep that in mind, okay? You may or may not already know that, but that's how it works. Double Evo, best against bio. Single Evo with weapon upgrades, best against mech. And if you actually had to go single Evo against bio, you get Carapace over weapons. Carapace is way better against bio than weapons, because your shit will just die too fast. Bio does way too much DPS if you don't have Carapace to withstand it. This is an economy problem, 100%, dude. Your economy is so stunted the whole time. We're at almost 10 minutes. We're almost at 10 minutes. So I know a lot of things have happened this game that have been weird. But we're almost at 10 minutes, and your natural is still not saturated properly. And your third has 1 drone on it. And you might be thinking, but ViBE, if I made more drones, I'd be dead right now. Like, I would have even less units, so that's not true, though. If you actually make more economy faster, you can actually make more production then also faster, which will ramp up how fast you produce units after you've saturated. And I guarantee you would have either equal or more units than you already do if you saturated your natural faster earlier on in the game. While also then having drones as well on your third and natural. You would have if you saturate, but what I'm trying to say is, if you saturated your bases faster, you could have saturated your third faster as well, and you would have the same, if not a bigger army with saturation. Because it's like a ripple effect. You just have more money the whole game now to use. And this is what I was talking about with like 2 guys punching each other in the face kind of a situation. Your economy was guaranteed worse than his because you got behind early on in the game. And you went for a style that has to ram into his face and fight him head on. This style is not cost efficient at all. It is overpowering with economy, and if you don't have an economy to overpower, you'll lose. That's how Roach Hydra works. You either overwhelm or you die. And you cannot overwhelm them if you don't have the money to do that. But yeah, that's just how it works. So now you're back on 2 bases. Once again, you have to do something cost efficient or you're dead. You're going for Lurker. At this point now, I would say Lurkers are questionable because he has siege tanks and he's going mech. All he has to do to kill Lurkers is scan and kill your Lurker. Because siege tank has superior range to a Lurker by 4. And it only takes 4 hits for... sorry, 3 hits. Just 3 hits for a Lurker to die to a tank when it's in siege mode. So this is scary for you. What I would do instead, if I was you in this position right now, and I'm in, this is a horrible position to be in. This game is basically over. I'm just saying that right now. This game has had such a bad setup already, and we've talked about all of it up to this point. Many things that can be improved upon. But this is like you making like 6 mistakes in a row. You deserve to lose at this point. Okay? Just throwing that out there. Like, you should be dead now. But if I were you and I had to take over this game right now, what I would do is I would probably get an infestation pit immediately. That's my first course of action, would be infestation pit. And then I would immediately start making infestors. And I would probably even make a couple more spines. Because you want to do something with your minerals, and you want something to happen. And I would probably even take a hidden base somewhere. I would send like one drone down to like right here. Take a hidden base. Hope to God he doesn't find it. Then on top of that, make like 4 spines on top of what you already have. So you have like 6 spines on top of the ramp. And if you somehow don't die by feigning pressure with what you still have here right now, this army is literally worthless at this point. Other than the fact that if you make your opponent feel like it's going to attack him. If he's like, oh shit, I got to be careful. I don't want to engage too fast. I could get overpowered. You could buy a lot of time with this army, and you could go into something like Infestors with Neural Parasite, and then you could just be super fucking annoying. And if he tries to like start sieging tanks up in front near your base, Neural Parasite that shit and make him shoot himself. Waste his own, like literally waste his time. And Infestors are good in general. They're good units to have because they're very cost efficient if you use them correctly. But you could fucking own it with Neural Parasite. If you could get to that point. And while you're doing that, then you could go into a hive and get a spire and go into like Broodlords. Because if you could actually somehow stall long enough to get Infestor Broodlord, that is the only way I see you winning this game. You're never going to win having a straight up army fight him, ever. It'll never happen. What's going to happen if you make a straight up army to fight him, like Ling Bane, Hydra, Roach, Ravager, anything like that kind of a composition, which is you're doing Roach, Ravager, Hydra, what's going to happen is you're going to run at him, and your whole army is just going to go deleted. It's going to die. It'll all die. So, yeah. What I just recommended is, in my opinion, the only course of action you can really take to have any type of a chance to win this game. But you should be dead now. If this Terran just pushes you, you'll die. But see how patient he is? Lurkers are not the right answer though at this point, because he like if he scans right now, your whole army's dead. I'm just saying it right now. If he scans right now, your whole army would die. Oh, he has a Raven. He doesn't even need a scan. That's even worse. But just think about it like this: if you were rushing Broodlords, okay, and you were rushing Infestors rather, and you were making some spines, your army that you just engaged with, you didn't have to take that fight, and you made Lurkers that you don't necessarily need right now. You would have had enough, and you also just made 21 Roaches, and you still have about 100 gas in the bank. You have 85 exactly. You would have had enough gas to make like 7 Infestors at this point. And on top of that, also have their upgrades. And then start a hive. And if you had taken, instead of like this base, taken like a hidden base, this guy has nothing down on the bottom left of the map. You can't actually tell, or you can't tell. His vision is he's already scouted this. How long ago did he scout it? Let's find out. He scouted it like right away at the beginning of the game. Or early on. It was right around here is when he scouted it. One Hellion scouted it right around now. And now we're going to kind of pay attention to the point to where the Terran gets to here. And we'll see if he scouts again. Either way though, I feel like a hidden base, like right now, if you were to be like, okay, time to take a hidden base because this is dead, it'd be better for you. And the Terran is not scouting the map again. He's content with what he's seen. Okay, we're back to where we were a second ago. But like I said, you would have had enough gas to make a bunch of Infestors. And look at this army. You got some tanks, you got some Hellbats, and you got some Banshees. You got 5 tanks and 2 Banshees. If you had like 7 Infestors right now, like we just said a second ago, with Burrow and Neural Parasite, you could actually Neural Parasite every single one of these tanks and even the Banshees. And then your Roach Hydra that you had a second ago, that didn't have to die a little bit right there. It would be a little bit bigger than it is now. You could actually fight this army by itself and you could kill it. If it pushes, you know, onto creep or something that you see. Or this army over here. You see how he has a Raven in the front of his army? This Raven has detection range of about this big. Okay, let me zoom out here. This Raven's detection range is about this big, just about this big. The top was a little bit low. The detection range of a Raven is about like 8 or 9. This is about how big it would be for a unit to be spotted. If you saw something like this happening right here, and you saw, oh shit, he's got a Raven, you could actually, it's a Hail Mary, but you got to do something crazy. You could actually have, like I said earlier with Infestors, you could have ran Infestors down here, around like this, to the back of his army, and if his Raven's in the front of his army, which you can see with like creep or something, you know, some type of, have an Overlord nearby, I don't know. Something to give vision to see, okay, his Raven is there. You could have Infestors here, and you could go neural. You could neural like this whole side of the army, and your Infestors will come up to about right there to do it. Even on the front of it. These tanks in the back would be neural from about right there. Because neural parasite is 7 range. You could actually neural parasite him out of detection range where the Raven currently is, and as you neural all those units, you could then have the Roach Hydra engage, and it would be these 2 tanks in the front, by the way, would have died already because of what you neuraled in the back. Because if you guys didn't know this, a tank kills a siege tank fucking fast. One tank can kill another tank in 3 shots. And this tank in the front also only has 2 hit points. So you would have guaranteed killed off the front part of his army with the back part of his army. And then while he's still neuraled, your army that would now engage for free, it could actually attack and kill his army without you taking any damage at all. And you could even go one step further than that, and you could have his own units continue killing his own units that are still neural parasited. Have his Thors start killing his own tanks. Have his tanks start killing the Thors. Stuff like that. Like, you could have taken a way better fight for yourself than going something like Lurker at this point. So I understand it's like, you know, it's a confusion factor, and, you know, a lot of people don't like to use Infestors. But in a situation like this, they're fucking required. Because you're so far behind. Alright, we'll continue. Also, changelings would be great. You could make changelings go see what he's doing. So I feel like the decision you're making is you're saying, you know what, fuck it. We're just going to counterattack with roaches and hope for the best. It's a Hail Mary. It's my little roach Hail Mary. What you should expect from this guy, if he has a tank pressure there, and a tank and like banshees that just killed your hatchery here, you should, and he's not pushing you. If I were you, I would expect him to have this army sitting here, and it's just sitting here. He's not pushing me, so it means what's here is here, and that's it. It means he's probably building more units back at home, and he's set up defense at home. That's what my guess would be. I haven't looked at this guy's base yet, but I would expect there to be tanks at home because he's not parade pushing me. He's just controlling an area of the map with an army that was already there. So this kind of an attack, all it's going to do, most likely I would say, is you're going to run about right here, and you're going to start getting fucking blasted by tanks again, and whatever, maybe a Thor, whatever else he has at home, and your roaches will probably die. That's what my guess would be.
You're engaging the opponent who is under attack.
Okay. This guy decided to go for base trade instead. He's crazy. I don't know. He's crazy. That's all I can say. He's going for a base trade now, which still, he's going to win the game in this situation because all he has to do right now is siege these tanks, and these roaches will never win. But there was like no reaction to lifting a depot or sieging a tank. Like, all he had to do was seriously lift a depot and have a couple like a tank, and he would have been fine. But yeah, he went for a base trade. But just don't ever think that just because it worked, your little counterattack that you did this game, just because it worked this game, please tell yourself right now, this is a bad idea. Going into roaches like this, you know, this whole type of unit comp, Roach Hydra Lurker, is not a great idea with the situation you've been in, because you're behind in economy. That is the only reason why I'm saying it's bad. If you were ahead in economy, if you're the one who's on 5 bases and the Terran's on 3 bases, you're the one who was at 158 supply and he was the one at 96 supply, I would be totally fine with you wanting to go Roach Hydra against this kind of a composition. because you might be able to overpower it and kill it. It's totally possible. And who knows? Fuck, you could go into like a hive tech and get vipers at that point and start blinding clouding and abducting his units, like his tanks, and possibly win that way. That would be totally fine, because doing a brute force composition when you have a superior economy works great. It does not work great though when you're behind. Just make sure you and like everyone understands that.
Your forces are taking damage. Your base is under attack. It's a trap. You're engaging the opponent. Our forces are under attack. Your forces are under attack.
Like, yeah, this game is unwinnable at this point. You're effectively dead, because even if there was no units here at home at all on the ground, the fact that he still has banshees and that banshees came back, it's highly, it means your roaches are now on a clock, and these roaches are you don't have enough of them to not only withstand the damage of the banshees, but you don't have enough of them to kill the base. And then all the Terran has to do on top of that is lift off one building and he wins the game, because you have nothing that hits air. Whereas his army is about to kill your base in the next like 8 seconds. If these tanks all siege, your whole base would die, seriously, in about less than 10 seconds.
Your forces are taking damage. GG. Better luck next time.
And yeah, he still has the PF too. That's true. He's not even like all of his mining is gone. He still controls this base, and this base, and now this base, and this base. Like, it's a base trade is not ever the way you want to go in this situation. I understand why you did it, because you felt like you were being overwhelmed and you had no choice. But just know, you did have choices. The things I talked about throughout this whole game, you had all of these choices to make that you just didn't decide to do. So I think this replay was a fantastic replay for you to send to me to watch, because this replay has a shitload of learning potential. So I'm gonna Plasmid, I'm gonna be uploading this to YouTube, and for people who are watching it on YouTube, guess what? Hi guys, what's up? Hi YouTube, hello, how you doing? Hope you enjoyed it. This will be on YouTube soon. Going back to real time here, it'll be on YouTube soon, so you can always rewatch it again. And for anyone else out there who likes how I analyze this game and wants more of it, if you go to my YouTube as well, there's a lot more of these on the YouTube, on my channel, that is linked on my stream page. But guys, thanks for watching the replay analysis, and Plasmid, thank you again for submitting this. I hope it helped. And until next time, see you later. Goodbye. Thanks, dude. Okay, there's the